Have you ever felt like you're walking alone in life, as if your prayers were just echoes in the void, unanswered, as if Jesus were distant, watching from afar, but not really acting? If this feeling has ever crossed your heart, I want you to stay with me until the end of this video, because today you will discover something that can change the way you see your relationship with God. The truth is, you have never been alone. Even on the darkest days, when everything seems meaningless, when pain suffocates and answers don't come, Jesus is there. He always has been. But sometimes our hearts are so burdened with worries, fear, and sadness that we can't feel His presence. And I know it can be hard to believe this when circumstances seem to tell you otherwise. But listen carefully. Jesus has not forgotten you. If you are here listening to this message right now, know that there is a reason. Jesus wants to speak to you. He wants you to hear every word because His love for you goes beyond what you can imagine. And at the end of this video, we will pray together a special prayer for those who need to feel Jesus close again, a prayer to bring peace to your heart. So I invite you, stay with me until the end, because this may be the answer you have been waiting for so long. Now, I want you to close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself walking down a long road with no one around you. The sun is setting, the temperature is dropping, and as darkness approaches, a thought crosses your mind. I am alone. Maybe this is exactly how you've been feeling lately, as if you're walking alone in life, without direction, without answers. Have you ever prayed for help and felt like your words simply disappeared into the void? Have you ever asked for a sign, but all you found was silence? If so, you are not alone in this feeling. This sense of abandonment has been felt by many. In fact, some of the most important figures in the Bible went through moments like this. David, a man after God's own heart, cried out in Psalm 22, verse 1, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Job, a man of integrity and righteousness, lost everything he had. He looked at his shattered life and asked, "Lord, where are you?" Even Jesus, in the most painful moment of his crucifixion, lifted his eyes and said, "Father, why have you forsaken me?" If even Jesus went through such a moment, why wouldn't we? But here is the truth I want you to hold in your heart. God's silence never means His absence. Maybe right now you are facing challenges that seem impossible. Maybe you are waiting for an answer that hasn't come. And in the middle of this waiting, the enemy whispers lies in your ear. God has forgotten you. Jesus doesn't care about you. But this is the greatest lie of all. The fact that you do not feel Jesus right now does not mean that He is not by your side. Loneliness can be deceiving. Many times, when we feel that God is distant, He is actually closer than ever. Have you ever heard the story of the footprints in the sand? It tells of a man who, looking back at his journey through life, saw two sets of footprints in the sand, his and Jesus. But in the hardest moments, when the pain was most intense, he saw only one set of footprints. And so he asked, "Lord, why is it that in the most difficult moments of my life, when I needed you the most, there was only one set of footprints? Why did you leave me alone?" And Jesus replied, "My child, in those moments, those footprints were not yours but mine, because I was carrying you in my arms. Now I ask you, what if right at this moment Jesus is carrying you? What if He is holding your hand, guiding your steps, even though you cannot perceive it? The truth is that Jesus' love for you is far greater than you can comprehend. You may not see it, but He is working. You may not feel it, but He is taking care of every detail. So before you believe that you are alone, I want you to stay with me, because in the next chapter, we are going to talk about something very important. the proof that Jesus never abandons you. If you could see beyond what your natural eyes perceive, if you could glimpse into the spiritual world right now, you would realize something incredible. Jesus never left your side, even in the moments when you thought you were alone. Even when everything seemed hopeless, He was there, and He still is. But if Jesus is always with us, then why do we sometimes feel as if He is distant? Why are there times when it seems like our prayers go unanswered? The truth is that God's silence never means His absence. Many times God's silence is a test. A teacher is always silent during an exam, isn't he? In the same way, there are moments when Jesus allows us to go through challenges so that we can grow spiritually, but He never leaves us alone. If God sustains you, then how could you ever be alone? Maybe you don't realize it now, but Jesus has already delivered you from situations you can't even imagine. Remember those moments when you thought you wouldn't make it, but somehow a door opened, or that situation that seemed impossible, but then out of nowhere something unexpected happened and everything changed? That was not a coincidence. That was Jesus. He has been working in your life even when you didn't notice. Jesus is with you on good days and bad days. Many people think that Jesus is only present in the difficult moments, but that's not true. Jesus is always by your side. He rejoices in your victories, in your smiles, in every achievement you accomplish. Have you ever stopped to think about that? That Jesus doesn't just sustain you in your worst moments, but He also celebrates with you in your best ones. If you accomplished something important, if you received good news, if your heart was overflowing with happiness, Jesus was happy too. Just like a father or mother who rejoices when they see their child achieving something meaningful, Jesus rejoices when you succeed, when you move forward, when you find peace. But He also cries with you. When you feel weak, He feels your pain. When you lose something or someone, He grieves with you. When you feel exhausted, He is there ready to hold you. Jesus never abandons you because His love for you is real, deep, and eternal. You may feel like no one understands what you're going through, that no one truly sees the struggles within you, but Jesus sees, and He cares. He knows when you feel overwhelmed. He understands the burdens you can't explain to anyone. He sees the tears you hide. And on the days when you have no strength to continue, He carries you in His arms. The Bible proves that God never abandons us. The Bible is filled with stories of people who faced trials and moments of solitude, yet they were never abandoned by God. In Isaiah 41:10, it is written, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Do you remember the story of Daniel? He was thrown into the lion's den, surrounded by danger, with no way out. But God shut the lions' mouths, and Daniel came out unharmed. And Peter? When he began to sink into the sea, desperate, he cried out, "Lord, save me." And immediately, Jesus stretched out His hand and pulled him up. Do you know what that means? Jesus never lets anyone drown. At the exact moment, He reaches out and lifts us up. But you need to trust Him even when you don't see the way out. If you are in a desert, remember, deserts don't last forever. Maybe right now you are facing challenges that seem impossible. Maybe you are waiting for an answer that hasn't come, but Jesus is holding your hand. If today you feel like you are walking through a desert, remember, deserts don't last forever. When God brought the people of Israel out of Egypt, He led them through the desert. But throughout the journey, God was with them. By day, a cloud protected them from the scorching heat. By night, a pillar of fire warmed them and lit their path. God never abandoned them, even when they doubted, and He will never abandon you either. Maybe you have been waiting for an answer, and all you receive is silence. But know that God is tirelessly working for you. When you least expect it, He will open the right door. So just trust. Just keep walking. Now, I want to invite you to take a step of faith, because in the next chapter, I will show you how you can feel Jesus' presence every single day, because He never abandoned you, and now it's time to open your heart and experience His love like never before. Now that you already know that Jesus never abandons you, perhaps there is still a question in your heart. If He is always with me, why do I sometimes struggle to feel His presence? This is a very common doubt. Many people believe that in order to feel Jesus, they need a great sign, a visible miracle, or a supernatural experience. But the truth is that Jesus' presence is in every detail of your day. The problem is that many times we are so busy, so anxious, so distracted that we fail to notice Him. So how can we feel the presence of Jesus every day? The answer lies in these words: proximity, silence, surrender, and living according to the teachings of Jesus. 1. Proximity. The closer you are to Jesus, the more you feel His presence. Have you ever noticed how we feel closer to someone when we spend time together? Whether it's a friend, a family member, or someone we love, the more we interact with that person, the more we feel their presence and truly get to know them. It's no different with Jesus. The Bible tells us in James 4:8, "Draw near to God, and He will draw near to you." This means that the more we seek Jesus, the more we feel His presence. And how can we do this? Through prayer, reading the Word, and communion with Him. Many people think that prayer is just about asking for things, but prayer is so much more than that. Prayer is a dialogue, an intimate conversation with Jesus. It doesn't have to be scripted or complicated. Just talk to Him as if you were talking to your best friend. And the more you do this, the more you will realize that He has always been there listening to every word. 2. Silence. Learn to hear Jesus in the midst of life's noise. We live in a world full of noise. Every day we are bombarded with information, notifications, problems, worries, and in the midst of it all, Jesus' voice can seem distant. But do you know one of the greatest secrets to feeling His presence? Learning to silence the world in order to hear the voice of God. In the Bible, in 1 Kings 19:11-12, God speaks to Elijah. And how did God manifest Himself? It was not through a strong wind. It was not through an earthquake. It was not through intense fire. It was through a soft, gentle whisper. This teaches us something powerful. Many times, God does not speak in the noise. He speaks in the silence. And if we want to feel His presence, we need to create moments of silence to hear Him. It could be in the morning, before starting your day, or at night, before going to sleep. A moment to turn everything off, close your eyes, and simply say, "Lord, I am here. I want to feel your presence." And then, wait, because Jesus always responds. 3. Surrender. Trusting in Jesus is the key to feeling His presence. Have you ever tried carrying something too heavy on your own? If you have, you know how exhausting it can be. Now imagine that you are holding a heavy suitcase filled with problems, fears, and worries, and Jesus is right in front of you, with His hands extended saying, "Give me this burden. Let me carry it for you." But instead of handing it over, you insist on carrying it yourself. This is the reality for many people. They say they trust Jesus, but deep down, they are still trying to solve everything on their own. They continue to carry their burdens without allowing Him to help. But Jesus gives us an invitation in Matthew 11:28. "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." This means that if we want to feel Jesus' presence, we need to surrender our worries into his hands. We need to trust that he is in control, because when we do this, something incredible happens. The weight disappears, peace enters, and his presence becomes real in our lives. For we're living according to the teachings of Jesus, but there is something very important that we need to remember. Our proximity to Jesus is not only built through prayer, it is also built through our actions. It is useless to pray every day if our actions do not reflect what Jesus taught us. If I lie, betray, deceive, harm others, how can I say I am close to Jesus? If I kill, steal, covet what belongs to others, judge people without looking at my own faults, how can I claim to follow Christ? The Bible teaches us in James 2:26 that faith without works is dead. This means that it is not enough to talk about Jesus. We need to live like he lived. This does not mean we need to be perfect, but it does mean that we must strive to be better every day, to forgive as Jesus forgave, to love as Jesus loved, to help as Jesus helped. Because each time we follow his footsteps, we draw closer to his presence. So if you want to feel Jesus every day, start with prayer, but also live in a way that pleases him. And the more you do this, the closer he will be to you. Jesus is in the small details. Now pay attention to the small details of your day. Do you remember that hug you received at just the right moment? That message from a friend that made you smile? That gentle breeze on your face? That sunrise? That unexpected sense of peace? That is Jesus. His presence is in everything. It is in the people he places in your path. It is in the answers that arrive at just the right time. It is in the miracles that happen, even the ones that go unnoticed. And if you still struggle to perceive him, I invite you to do something very simple. Starting today, before you sleep, close your eyes and give thanks. Even if it was a difficult day, try to find at least one good thing that happened, and you will see Jesus was with you the whole time, and he will continue to be by your side every day of your life. Now, in the next chapter, we are going to do something very special, a prayer for you to feel Jesus closer, for your faith to be renewed, and for your heart to find rest in his presence. So stay with me and prepare to open your heart in God's presence. Now that you understand that Jesus never abandons you and that his presence is in every detail of your life, we have reached the most special moment of this video. Let's pray together. If you feel that you need to strengthen your connection with Jesus, if you desire to feel his presence every day in your life, if you want to surrender your worries, your pain, and your doubts into his hands, then I invite you to close your eyes right now, take a deep breath, and open your heart to this prayer. Lord Jesus, at this moment, I come before you with an open heart. Many times, I feel like I'm alone, but today I choose to believe that I never have been and I never will be. Even when I don't perceive it, I know you are with me. Even when fear tries to take over, I know you are my strength. Jesus, I surrender my worries, my doubts, my anxiety, and my pain into your hands. Teach me to feel your presence every day. May I not seek only great signs, but also learn to recognize you in the small things, in the whisper of the wind, in unexpected peace, in the embrace of a friend. Give me a heart that is sensitive to hear your voice even in the silence. And above all, Lord, place within me the desire to speak with you every single day. May prayer not be just a request, but a sincere conversation between a father and his child. May I never drift away from you, because I know that you never drift away from me. Thank you for loving me so much, for carrying me when I have no strength, and for always being by my side. I trust in you. In your holy name, I pray. Amen. Now take a deep breath. Feel the peace of Jesus filling your heart. Know that He heard your prayer. And from this moment on, you will never see your life the same way again. You have never been alone, and you never will be. But remember something very important. Prayer must be a part of your daily life. Just as we talk to the people we love, we must also talk to Jesus every day. He wants to hear your voice. He wants to be part of your day. And to help you on this journey, I have a special invitation for you. Come back to this video every day. Listen to this prayer daily. Pray along with me. Make this a moment of communion with Jesus. The more you repeat this prayer, the stronger your connection with Him will become. Day by day, you will feel His presence growing stronger in your life. So save this video. Keep it as a reminder so that you can come back whenever you need it. If one day you feel fear, doubt, or sadness, return here and pray with me again. Jesus will be waiting for you every time you come back. If this message touched your heart, I ask you to do 4 things right now. First, write in the comments, "Jesus never abandoned me." This will be a testimony of your faith and a declaration of trust in Jesus' love. Second, if you know someone who needs to hear this message, share this video. You might be the answer that person has been waiting for. Third, like this video. Your engagement helps us spread this message to more people, bringing the light of Jesus to the world. Fourth, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to receive updates. Here on Inner Light, Infinite Wisdom, we share messages that strengthen faith, bring hope, and renew the spirit. Prayers are small bridges that connect us with God, Jesus, and all spirituality. If we want a close friend, we must always maintain that friendship through our words and through our affection. And in the same way, we keep Jesus close to us by following His words and making Him our true friend. Take a moment each day to talk to Jesus, to open your heart, and to feel His presence drawing near to you. And if one day you feel weak, without strength, or without direction, come back here. Listen to this prayer again, because Jesus will always be ready to hear you. And remember, Jesus is with you every single day, in every step, in every moment. See you in the next video. Until then, keep your vibration high and your mind connected to the divine.